Hard to believe, but it's almost been 25 years since the Lord of the Rings trilogy made its debut in theaters with the Fellowship of the Ring, and almost 5 years since I celebrated the 20th anniversary reviewing LEGO Lord of the Rings. And it made me think of something kind of funny. The first game we played on the Xbox 360 when we first got that platform was a Lord of the Rings title. Similar happened years prior when my parents got their PlayStation 2, and the first game they got was Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers. Of course, a couple years later, my siblings and I would get the GameCube version. As I am on this retro mood anyway, and since I remembered the Lord of the Rings film anniversary, I figured to dig that and Return the King out. But starting with the former, how does this movie tie in fare? Let's find out. If you know the plot of the Lord of the Rings movies, particularly Fellowship of the Ring, weird story on how EA never released a standalone game from that movie, and the title of this game, you get the idea. In the game's case, however, it largely focuses on three characters: Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, as they are the three primary playable characters, with others like Frodo and Gandalf being unplayable, but still play a role in the story, more so with Gandalf. And early to mid throughout, it is narrated by Aragorn, reprised by Viggo Mortensen, as if he is telling flashbacks to Éowyn. So between burning Grim Reaper-like ring wraiths, surviving swarms of orcs and a troll in Balin's tomb, swarms of Uruk-hai and Amon Hen, only to see Sean Bean in video game form get whacked, for a second time anyway, and even the Battle of Helm's Deep itself, you're living it in this game. But of course, as with other licensed games, additional filler was added. One of them being when they travel to Fangorn Forest and they kill remnant orcs in Uruk-hai. And there is also a set of levels where Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli have to travel to Rohan, which in the movie was indeed attacked. What they didn't do was go there to help evacuate them as Saruman attacked it. So again, think like Aladdin finding Abu in Egypt, or James Bond infiltrating Severnaya. But how they do it in video game form? Turn it into an arcade-style hack-em-up, of course. So time to talk about the gameplay. As mentioned before, The Two Towers only has Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli playable. So as you'd expect, each character have a different feel to them. Aragorn is the more balanced fighter, with his two-handed sword and can get some solid shots with his backup bow. Legolas, as you would expect, is more the expert with a bow and can carry more arrows, but his melee attacks, cool as dual wielding is, are far weaker. And Gimli, whose melee is far stronger, but his throwing axes are not only slower to ready, take more hits, at least initially. Most of the levels are very straightforward, ranging from arenas where you fight waves of orcs or Uruk-hai, to traversing locations of Middle-earth in straight point A to point B levels, where you're going to want to find secrets where there are hidden chests containing either extra projectiles, a potion, or experience points, as there is very light RPG mechanic that caps your characters at level 10. Being able to spend experience points on upgrades for your characters such as health, better projectiles, and even combo attacks that help you get closer to more perfect ranked kills. And boy, you will need these if you want to survive the armies of Mordor and Isengard. Of course, to diversify from all the hacking and slashing, a lot of the levels have their own objectives. Burn the ring wraiths, clean up an X amount of Uruk-hai for Frodo to evacuate Amon Hen before time runs out, make sure Rohan citizens don't all die as Saruman commits genocide, and even kill bosses, each with their own fight patterns, like the Watcher in the Water after cutting up its tentacles, kill the cave troll, kill Lurtz in revenge for Boromir as his dumbass gets his sword stuck chasing you, as well as the Wolves of Isengard, with its leader scared of water. In any event, the gameplay is pretty damn solid, and the game plays pretty well even with the GameCube controller, from its basic attacks to more stronger swings for shielded and bigger enemies, and even stabbing your sword down on a down orc to finish them off faster. Just the feeling of nailing the special move feels just right, especially when it gives you clear indication. Even cooler is that you can even kick enemies off ledges for instant excellent ranked kills. It captures the epic battles of the movie quite well, and by the end of the main game, it's replayable to help you get to level 10 if you haven't, to unlock a bonus level at Saruman's Tower, which helps you unlock a secret character, Isildur, who is playable at the prologue, and mainly plays as an alternate version of Aragorn but overpowered by default. Like, come on EA, is that really a quote-unquote secret? But if there were a couple things I really hated as far as genuine flaws are concerned, one, the camera has no control and can throw you off a little when you get to another spot at a different angle. The second and worst thing, the checkpoints. There is like little to no indication you get them. Some levels, you have to start all over when you fail, which is frustrating, and levels that do contain them, oh now you guys tell me? Good lord. Another is a missed opportunity. Even as a kid watching my dad play the PlayStation 2 version, I was baffled by the lack of co-op gameplay. Like, Aragorn and Frodo didn't do what they did alone, guys! The sound also accurately captures the Lord of the Rings feel from the combat to Howard Shore's musical score being presented. Bonus props for the DVD content featured, especially on the GameCube version where some developers would leave it out, either because of the space on the minidisc or the port was on a rush. In any event, that's not the case with the Two Towers. Clips from both Fellowship of the Ring and Two Towers are present, and so is the behind-the-scenes content with the cast that participated in the game's development reprising their roles. Viggo Mortensen as Aragorn, Orlando Bloom as Legolas, John Rhys-Davies as Gimli, and even for unplayable characters like Elijah Wood as Frodo and Sir Ian McKellen as Gandalf, as well as videos from Peter Jackson. All that was edited. It is what is plainly a PlayStation 2 controller, because why would Nintendo or Microsoft want to see a Sony product on their console? Still, all the extra content you see on the PlayStation 2 version, all here. Overall, Lord of the Rings The Two Towers is still a fine hack-em-up based on the movies it's based on, just marred down by the lack of co-op, at times finicky camera, and a confusing checkpoint system, but it nails the epic feel of the movies brilliantly. Before I go, I want to say that it does get better after this, but I won't get into that until later in the year. That's right, the celebration of the Lord of the Rings film's 25th anniversary is a two-parter this year. Stay tuned. This autumn.